Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hope you're doing well. Wall Street Mav shows how illiterate he is, how utterly uninformed he is as well. America has done quite a number on Afghanistan and Iraq, countries that did not attack us. America wants to go and ruin Iran. What does it mean to be white? See, Russia and Ukraine, those people are pretty much the same skin color. They're very similar to each other, but they're warring with one another. They're ruining each other's countries, aren't they? That's something to think about. Now, countries are not getting ruined by Islam. See, what's odd here is that they're using Muslim as a term for non-white, because there are Malaysian Muslims, Japanese Muslims that are a minority, but they still exist. Chinese, Indonesia, Turkish, German. Islam exists all over the world. When Muslims come, they don't ruin white countries. But see, this racial ideal of we gotta keep everything white, but then these people sit here after Kirk was blasted and say, the left is evil, the left is that, and it was a white guy, Tyler Robinson, who did it. Sure, you can have different theories, but it was a white guy who blasted Trump and a white guy who blasted Kirk. And then there was another white guy who tried to blast Trump, and he got caught. But those people were white, and by attacking a leader, by attacking Kirk, that can cause ruin for those people who want that political party and that agenda, right? I want you to think about how absurd it is that how these people think, how materialistic they really are. Jesus was not white, and Christianity did not originate in Europe. Christianity did not originate in white countries. The Bible does not say that whites are superior to others. And it's quite insulting to say that the Irishman is the same as the Scottishman. To think that the Frenchman is the same as the Englishman, simply because the pigmentation of their skin. People have different styles, and to think that someone from Poland is the same as an Italian because of their pigmentation? Bizarre. And what does he mean by just get rid of them already? Well, we know that this is a way they play a little game here. We know, get rid of them, execute them, but also kick them out, deport them, don't allow them, exclude them, exile. See, they know how to get around Twitters. They know how to say what they want to say without being blanketed about it because they don't want to violate the TOS, even though so many of them, the limit on his post, that doesn't happen. The only group protected is the Jays. Everyone else is up for grabs. Unironically. And with people posting this kind of anti-Muslim content, people can get discouraged. But I want you to think about how many people are Muslim who have helped you and you don't even know they are Muslim. That's the beauty that a lot of people don't realize. Just because someone doesn't have a beard doesn't mean they're not Muslim. Just because someone's not an Arab doesn't mean they're not Muslim. And I'll even say some women are Muslim, but they don't wear hijab. They should. Allah guide them. But how many people are awesome and they're Muslim and have helped a Christian? Probably quite a lot. See, it's not about religion or IQ or race when it comes to people who ruin things. It has to do with someone's character traits, their ethics, how they were raised. Some people are just plain ignorant. And you ever notice how These people don't say, let's start like a welcome to our country class program, something where they give the new arrival a welcoming tour. Imagine, think about it in Gangs of New York. All right, when the Irish are coming off the boats and some people are pelting them with stones. Bill the Butcher doesn't like the Irish, even though they're white. But imagine, oh, and then the politician, he's giving soup to the new arrivals. He's trying to curry favor with them, but he stones versus soup to the new arrival. If you're new somewhere, are you going to be friendlier to the one who helped you? Or are you going to be friendlier to the one who looked at you as an outcast, who hated you without even knowing you? And the audacity of some people to think they have nothing to learn from the newcomer is odd. But think about it this way. You have a job, the new arrival sees things that others haven't really noticed in a while. They come to try to change things. The old timer thinks, you can't change this. Trust me, man, been there, done that. But they both have a different perspective that they can combine and use to make the company better, to make the restaurant, the business better. They have to work together and not be like, I'm old, I have seniority, I don't need to listen to you, young buck. And then the new person doesn't have to be like, oh, you're a curmudgeon, you're dusty, you're a dinosaur, I have nothing to learn from you. I'm new and fresh, I got everything on lock, I don't have to pay attention to you. You're outdated. No, that doesn't work. Imagine people coming together and then exchanging that information. I think that would be way more beneficial. Muslims should not be gotten rid of. It's a terrible thing to say. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect the believers, because we're facing quite a lot of animosity from paid people. This isn't genuine. See, I've pointed it out before, but all the problems facing Americans living paycheck to paycheck, inflation's high, healthcare is a major concern, student debt is getting harder and harder for people to pay it back, high interest banking, okay? The amount of people with STDs, the amount of people with addiction, the amount of people in broken homes, all these crises, and they're like, oh, Muslims are ruining white countries. What? Do you ever see these people talk about gang members who are not brown? And also, look at the class of crime. I want you to think about how white-collar crime done at a corruption level of politicians, doesn't really get talked about a lot. Think about it. There's a certain threshold of one's economic status and how much you can get away with. And a lot of people are blackpilled on the Epstein stuff because they say, like, we got all this info, nothing's going to happen. Why? It's pay to play. Money talks, bullshit walks. People are able to, get off scot-free. If they got enough money, just look at P. Diddy. Okay? He didn't snitch, and so he's gonna probably be fully fine. And if you just look at what kind of people stick together, how they keep each other in line through blackmail and whatnot, you realize they're in a total different reality. One that is not even based on true justice. They don't see themselves as shepherds for the masses. They're in it to win it. We are just in the way. We're just things. We're not even important. We're not even necessary for them to win an election, which is why they pander to donors. And that's a sad reality. But as Muslims, we know that the real life is in the hereafter. And we have to be careful about how much we, depend upon the world and live within it. And we have to have hope in doing good deeds, essentially, for ourselves. and to help where we can. We have to have hope that we can do good, we can make a good change, but we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is swift in accounting, and everyone's gonna come across what it is they put forth. And you better hope that you put a lot forth. While others were chasing money, you were doing your prayers in the night. While others were spreading, corruption in the land, you were doing something better with your time, studying the deen, helping someone who needed help, you name it. So it's important to see that, because what ruins a nation is varied, but it's not Islam. I think it's fascinating how so many Americans, we don't really know our own history of what we've intervened in, and I think it's been hidden from Americans on purpose. With the regime change wars, and the forever wars, and the oil wars, and the mineral conflicts, we begin to notice how some countries are kept in a perpetual state of chaos so that it can be looted, so that the people cannot organize. It's sad, but true. And then on the home front, you have people who are just, hey, this is what you have to do to be able to succeed, and then the entire market shifts. Hey, go to college, take all this debt. Oh, you can't declare bankruptcy on it, and we're going to give more money for warmongering. We're not going to give money or like any type of break. We're not going to forgive your student loans, but we're going to give more money to this country for their wars. And oh, here comes AI. Oh, you're in debt? Oh boy, you can't, live on your wage? Now we can't do anything for you. Oh, the population rate is going down? Oh, what's causing that? It's a lot of politicians who hate the people, causing a lot of corruption. And then just the godlessness, the worship of money in and of itself causes a lot of corruption. See, so many people, I think, would have a better view of Islam if they actually spend time studying the ethics of Islam. The emphasis on charity. We don't look down on the poor. We're not persistent beggars, because then you'll show up on Judgment Day with some flesh off your face. But we are fearful that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can humble us as well. We know He's the Almighty. We know that some people will be tested through their wealth and others through the lack of it. And that if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not granted someone something, it's usually for their own benefit, because He knows what we don't know. And maybe that person, if they had wealth, they would have not done so well. They would have become more corrupt. And so Allah denied it for them. Think about it. We have a different outlook on life that a lot of these people don't understand. And if you just measure a civilization based on its architecture, on its skyscrapers, then you haven't really looked at the heart of it all. See, drugs have ruined America, and a lot of the cartels, they are Christian. What do I mean by that? A lot of the members are Catholic. Now, it's so convenient that Christians get to escape from that. Oh, well, they're not real Christians because they work in a cartel. Okay, then. Why do you get to label that with Muslims, then? Someone claims to be Muslim, we don't really know if they are. They do a crime, all Muslims get blamed. The religion itself gets blamed. Every believer gets a spot put on them. And yet, when you look at what the Latino cartels are up to, and how many of them have the Virgin of Guadalupe, Virgin Mary art, some of them have Jesus tattoos, cross tattoos. They love Jesus, but they're criminals. But that doesn't get chalked up as Christian crime. And they're manufacturing those substances, bringing them across, and then it is a lot of Republican Christians in the upper echelons of society having a nice wild party. Shouldn't say nice, but you get my point. They're having a wild party, and they got a smorgasbord, a buffet of substances. and they pay top dollar for the purest cut. I would think that it's the customers who are ruining America, since drugs ruin America. I don't see a lot of Muslims in America or in the UK being the top customer of such items. And in America, there's more Protestants in prison than Catholics and atheists and Muslims. And what's up with that? Why can't these Protestants fix their issues? Surely they are ruining America by having so many deviants within their faith that they can't seem to control or guide. And I always find it fascinating how people will say white country, and then if you really look at who was there not too long ago and why aren't they there anymore? Why aren't they there anymore? The colonization of the Christians wasn't so sweet, wasn't so nice. Now, I'm not saying as a Muslim we have to make excuses for the pagans because we want everyone to be Muslim. But my point is that the Christians will pretend like they didn't make non-whites suffer. I'm sure that the red men and the brown men thought that these pale folk with their blue eyes ruined much, ruined those streams, didn't value what the people who had been living in harmony with nature valued. Something to think about when you measure success. And if a zombie apocalypse happens, from the movies you see it, right? Those who are the most in tune with bushcraft and know how to exist in the raw realm, they favor quite well than those who depended solely on the grid. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect all the believers, keep them safe. Muslims are not ruining countries. Iraq and Afghanistan still have not been able to recover from what America did to them. And how many of these MAGA cult members, if you ask them, why was that the case? Why did that happen? What would they tell you? What would they tell you? And we have to be careful not to get too haughty, because the earth is filled with ruins of mightier civilizations, and arrogance is quite deadly. And I think far too many Americans have been so comfortable for a long time that they've almost forgotten what's possible. When you look around the earth and see people who are better, kinder, sweeter, more in tune with their spirituality, and they're living in some terrible conditions, you're like, wow, they're being tested. We've been given the opportunity to have laundry machines, functioning electrical grid, so many items in the grocery stores. We got to be careful. Got to be very careful how we look at other nations. And if I could help people, I would. I'm not rich, but there's a piece of me that's like, wow, Elon Musk got all this cash, and yet what is he doing for humanity? You may be saying, he's trying to go to Mars, that's for humanity. Maybe, in the future. But, to me, there's a lot of places that need some help. So many people in medical debt. So many cancer research things that could be done. Reforestation, you name it. That gets put to the wayside. Muslims are not ruining countries. Help people get on their feet the best way you can. Sometimes it's just advice they need. There's ways you can help someone if you don't have money. A job, a recommendation, something like that will help them feel welcomed. Are the people in the UK making the new arrivals feel welcomed? People complain about enclaves. but are you pushing them into the enclaves? Think about it. We have a lot to learn from each other. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from arrogance, ignorance, pride, and sinfulness. Ameen.